What if, instead of restoring, we just picked a car out of a field and got it running? When Jerry Coleman saw this classic 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner,
Just can't stand it. I got to get involved and see if I can fix it.
$1,500 rescued the muscle Mopar. 7 to 8 years later, now it's parked in Jerry's field. A 69 lift-off hood 446 pack Roadrunner, you'd restore it. And people will break the bank to restore a Hemi Roadrunner. That base Roadrunner of 68, still a true muscle car. That 383 had heads from the 440 Magnum. So, what are you going to do? Scrap it? No engine or trans. Rust in the rear quarters. And here and there, Jerry drives the Hot Rod Power Tour, where Jerry had become good friends with this man, Craig Borden. Lives in Kentucky, close to the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green.
The Power Tour ended in Bowling Green one year and then started in Bowling Green the next year. So both of those years, I invited Jerry and his wife to stay here.
Jerry looks at Craig's setup here with his cars he's fixing, and
there's a 69 Mach 1 over here under the tarp. I bought it out of the field with the intent to fix it up.
A field find that Craig and his boys are going to fix up. And this 72 Cheyenne Super, they did fix up.
And this was sitting in a field, and I drove past it many times. I bought for $700 about 7 years ago. I hand painted the stuff on the side there. My wife reupholstered the seat, and my boys drove it in high school. It's not real pretty, but it gets the job done.
Exactly what Jerry needed done to his field find. Just get it running. So, this fun trade between two friends.
Okay.
See, Jerry's in the heating and air conditioning business.
And he called me and he said, you know, I've got this Roadrunner. Would you be interested in putting it together if I just give you the whole system? And I said, that would be awesome. My boys and I love to tinker on stuff together. It's roughly around the $6,000 worth of air conditioning. So
that includes the natural gas heating unit inside the house.
We didn't talk about doing any body work or anything. He just said he wanted me to get it running, make it reliable, and drive it.
December 2018, arrival date.
The car was full of parts. Engine stand was bolted to it. They had just set it in there, so they had a place to put it. I'm a gearhead, so it didn't intimidate me at all.
But what about Chester Bennington? Might be scared of a beep beep Roadrunner.
Chester, yeah. Nothing to worry about. In fact, I thought it was in better shape than the way he described it, so I felt pretty good about it.
The Roadrunner would soon take up the space occupied by this 1961 Impala SS.
It's a LS3 with vintage air. This car has been on the Power Tour a number of times. I actually got this car from Jerry. I would push it out and work on it and then push it back in when I was done. Trunk lid wasn't even bolted on. It was just sitting on there with some bungee cords. Yeah, the hood wasn't even bolted on. It was sitting on too because it didn't have any hood hinges. The car was full of parts. I loaded it off the trailer and put it in the garage. So then I just started inventorying parts. So this was the bell housing, some of the boxes I found in the trunk. He had accumulated some fuel line and brake line, but it turns out they were for a Camaro. These are pictures of the motor as I started to clean it up. I was checking the casting numbers. This is the block numbers to see what we had. And it's a genuine 1968 383 Roadrunner.
Factory stock for this car, the H in the VIN, fifth digit, being a 383.
Engine and transmission have always been together. It came out of a 68 Roadrunner. He didn't want me to rebuild it. He just wanted me to clean it up. Took it over to the car wash, pressure washed it. I had to collect everything that it needed. Carburetor, manifolds, water pump, distributor. Ultimately had to change the oil pump because it was bad. The freeze plugs were rusted out. I'd already knocked them out in this picture, and I started scraping all the loose paint off. It had been painted a Ford blue instead of the Chrysler blue, which is a little bit of a turquoise color.
So you're just going to try and start this thing and not go to a machine shop?
Correct. It was a flywheel that was on the engine. I had it resurfaced, basically just so the new clutch and pressure plate would be, you know, good surface to work on. The car had some headers, so I put them on the engine, asked him if he wanted to go with headers or manifolds, and he said he wanted the original manifolds. So I took these pictures to try and sell the headers and recoup some of his money.
What'd you get for them?
I think $150. I got the engine painted, started putting it together, mocking up all the pieces.
Using stock photos for reference, this was Craig's first Mopar. Weird stuff. The Roadrunner 383 required a 440 Magnum clutch and pressure plate.
This car was originally equipped with the Hurst Competition Plus shifter. Got the linkage all adjusted and sorted out, so we should be able to go through all the gears. And that's pretty exciting. I think we're going to be able to drive this on the Power Tour using the old school Hurst shifter.
15-inch steel wheels with poverty caps. Silica, the cat, arrives just in time for our brake job. And look, Chester Cheeto's been making friends with that Roadrunner. Brakes are four-wheel drum, but very crusty and missing parts. Just look at the passenger side rear drums.
This side rear brakes was missing pretty much everything. I've already installed a wheel cylinder that's been a rebuilt one.
Blast and paint those hubs.
That part's done. Ordered a spring hardware kit. Everything we need to put their brakes together.
Very straightforward until this little booger.
This is the proportioning valve, is in the rear line.
All those years in that field.
So, finally got it.
Yep-de-doo. Brand new.
Also,
brand new brake lines from the front clear to the back. New master cylinder and new brake booster. Cats and cars, man. Precious really likes this old Mustang.
I've had this for 30 years.
What clue gives away the year of this Mustang?
Kind of a mix between Eleanor and Shelby. It's a coupe instead of a fastback. I built this motor a couple years ago. It's a 502 stroker motor. So I removed this and put a factory tack cluster in it, but I had to take all of this apart. This was the instrument panel that I took out. I didn't have any of the wiring under the hood at all, so it was a challenge to figure it all out. And as I mentioned before, being a Mopar guy, I wasn't familiar with. Like a Mustang, I could take apart in my sleep and put back together. The under dash wiring was a disaster. This fuse box had a penny in it, some wire, and obviously that wasn't working so good. It was melting wires and the fuse box itself. So I was able to get an actual fuse box from another car. There was stuff spliced and cut and melted.
I guess, or looks like to me that Chester's started to kind of guard the Roadrunner. His lair? Something going on there.
We didn't have a complete steering wheel, so I had to collect this horn ring and the pad and all that kind of stuff. It didn't have a gas tank on it at all. Here's the new gas tank, laying it out to figure out what all I needed. So the sending unit, where the vents and gas line went in. These are used gas tank straps that I cleaned and painted. The car had a 8 3/4 rear end, but it's an open rear end. And this is 489 case with a Sure Grip, traction lock, posi. Sure Grip is the Mopar term for it. It has 456 gears in it. We bought this used. Unfortunately, it's binding up, and the owner said it was really noisy, so I think it's got some issues.
Definitely needed rebuilt. Spider gears all chewed up. Destroyed the case. So, to build the rear end, Jerry bought this Eaton True Track limited slip differential. Also, they had a different ring and pinion they wanted to use and got a new 391 gear set. And here are the good Timken bearings in various shim thicknesses for setting the pinion depth. Not painting the body, just getting the car running. Not fixing any rust. Oh, one minor exception. The floorboard where the gas pedal mounts.
This is the part that mounts in the floor. So I've got a new one that will attach, so we'll have to make a small patch.
But how bad does it look under there?
You can see the car's pretty straight. You know, it looks rusty, but there's no holes in it.
Stout enough, we think, for muscle car activities.
This was the grill that was bent. You can see stuff's kind of bent and mangled. And then on this side it was missing the headlight buckets and springs and adjusters. This was after I put the new grill, not new, but used grill, but the grill assembly and headlight buckets. The bumper he wanted to keep, so we're gonna clean it up and hang it on his shop. Front bumper that was on the car and the grill, but this is probably the most interesting piece. This is the rear bumper that was on the car. He really likes this old bumper sticker, so we're gonna hang this on his shop.
And won't touch this Krager decal on the driver's side vent window. Craig reused the old battery tray. Just kind of repaired the sheet metal and put it back in. The old drive shaft was bent and rusty. Couldn't save the drive shaft yoke either. Had to make a new drive shaft.
And this radiator core support was bent and it looks like maybe down here they had hooked a chain to it or something at some point. So I just went through the process of straightening that all out.
Weird stuff. The Roadrunner 383 required a Magnum 440 clutch and pressure plate.
Okay, here we go. I'm getting ready to put the transmission onto the bell housing. There we are, setting it down in the entry compartment. There it is, sitting in there, just nothing's hooked up yet, it's just sitting on the motor mounts.
The original Carter AVS was missing parts, so Craig installed this brand new Edelbrock replacement.
Got the battery hooked up, turn the key on. I'm going to jump it across the starter relay here and see if this will fire up.
Dumping oil for some reasons.
We blew the gasket out of the oil filter.
Changed the oil filter, thinking it might have been bad. Same result. Now 2 swollen oil filters.
Took the oil pump off. This is the pressure relief valve inside the oil pump, and there's a spring inside there that would control the pressure. But this valve is stuck inside the pump, so we were making extremely high pressure. It made a pretty big mess. So we're going to have to put a new oil pump on it. But once that's in, we should be able to fire this up.
New pump, we're ready for a burnout. Kudos to the dark side of muscle cars. Chester knows something's up with his car. Chester would be right.
I've got a shifter boot and stuff for it, but I haven't put it on yet because I can actually see the linkage move. And like I said, the detent for reverse doesn't work, so it'll go right into reverse, like that's reverse. This is as found. You can see the rust falling off of it. It's going to need some attention. And this mirror is a little bit useless at the moment. If I can get it in here. Parking brake works too. It's got power steering now. It was originally a manual steering car. That works really good, but you can see there's a little bit of play in it. Transmission's a little bit noisy. I'm going to pull the transmission out, go through the shifter. All the lights work, brakes work, horn works.
Do you think you drive across the United States?
I wouldn't be afraid to. That window don't roll down, and this one's working so we can get a little air in here. But yeah, I wouldn't be afraid mechanically to drive it anywhere.
I went with it. That's okay. Let's walk around and look at the car. Oh, you got it.
The quarter panels at some point in its life have had some filler, so there's some plastic filler in there and there's some rust, as you can see. This one isn't real bad, but I would say it would need a whole skin probably, because it's dented. You can see there's a dent in the roof. This door is pretty mangled. It looks like at some point it caught on the fender. We found a grill that was not too bad. It's factory stuff. The original one was pretty mangled up and missing some parts, missing some of these little pieces. So again, mostly just trying to make the car complete. The bumper is a reproduction, but the parking lights and stuff are all the original. It was missing a lot of the little parking light things on the side here. So those again are reproduction. I've got somewhere they cut the original wire up in here, so that's the pigtail for this one.
Nice tires.
Yeah, they're nothing fancy, but we wanted, again, just some safe, reliable rubber on it.
Wheels look stock, but wider. 15 by 8 up front, 15 by 10 back.
Yeah, our antenna it's missing something. Yeah, so this hood, Jerry had found and sent it with the car. Be very delicate opening it. You can see at some point somebody probably opened it with rusty hood hinges and broke it.
Looks like a restored engine in a way.
It's a paint can restoration. But did put new shocks on, had to replace the bolts for the alignment, the eccentrics. A lot of that stuff was rusted solid. We did have to go through the whole brake system, the brake booster. I think the diaphragm inside was dry rotted and broke. Master cylinder was full of rust. As you can probably tell, most of this wiring has been replaced. It was missing pretty much everything under the hood. This junction block that goes into the firewall for the car. Got a wiper motor. Yep, I got that to work. Update it with the 70 and up electronic ignition.
As yet, no heater.
Alternator is again a 70 and up, so it's a little more modern with the electronics inside. Yeah, this is the distributor. It's electronic ignition, so it's eliminated the points, makes it a little bit more reliable. So Jerry found this radiator somewhere, I do not know, but it was actually too big for the car, wider than the original mounts. But I put it in anyway. The original radiator.
Look, an orange butterfly, a symbol of transformation, just like our car.
Had the intake up here on this side, so I had to go into the auto parts store with a coat hanger and say I need a hose that's basically this shape
to mount on the opposite side.
So this steering gearbox, the power steering pump and brackets, all of that is original power steering stuff. The steering column is the original column, but the shaft inside the column had to be changed because the gearbox is taller on a power steering car. Jerry found that too. I don't know where he did, but that's all original. He actually cleaned that and painted it and sent it to me. Yeah, that's the Roadrunner horn, and like I said, in '68 they didn't have any kind of logo on them. The '69 and later I think were purple, and they had the little Roadrunner sticker, but it still makes that unique sound that they spent a lot of money on to get from, I think, Warner Brothers. So it's got factory manifolds. It does have a 3-inch exhaust all the way back. The carburetor is an AVS, which is a copy of what would have come on the car. The main thing is drive it, let's have some fun with it. The seat's pretty rough. I'm kind of sitting on this towel because the springs are broken, and they're poking up through here, and it's not real comfortable, but it is a seat. See, when we drove through the puddle, we got a little water in here. This is the really worst part of the car, is this area behind both rear wheels. They're pretty well rusted out, but the area above the trunk, although we got it wet from driving in the puddle, it's not got a hole in it. No, it's only going to spin this tire over here because it's not the sure grip yet. So we'll only get a one-wheel peel.
Hold it still for a little bit, then roll out of it.
Okay.
Still got the 325s in the single track.
Smoke in the cab here?
Yeah, a little bit. We'll clear it out when we start moving. Alright. So, she's an old car, but you can have a lot of fun with an old car. I'm having fun. This is one of the things, when Jerry asked me to do it, that I look forward to. He said, you know, you can kick the car for a little while and drive it. And I said, great, I'm looking forward to that, because I like just experiencing the old cars. He loves the car. He's going to be mad when it leaves.
The clue to the year of this Mustang? The sign on the wall behind the cat.
These are those flip out windows, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think they work. He spends a lot of time in the car. It was actually kind of exciting when he said, "Can you put this Roadrunner together?" I'm like, "I'd love to." There you go. I like working on cars, so might have to get some WD-40 on it or something. When I'm not working for a living.
What about your radio? Does it work?
You know, the radio comes on, but there's no speaker yet, so I don't have any sound. I like to tinker with cars. It makes me happy.
But under the just get it running, it's running.
Right, Chester?
Can you talk, Chester?